Hey, my incredible YouTube audience. Thank you for joining me for another story time. You guys know I love diving into raw, emotional tales that hit you right in the heart, and this one, it's a gut punch. So grab a cozy blanket, maybe some tissues, and let's get into it. The room was dark, save for the faint glow of the street lamp bleeding through the blinds, casting slanted shadows across the bed. I lay there, eyes fixed on the ceiling, my chest tight with a feeling I couldn't name. It wasn't anger. Not yet. It was something heavier, like dread had curled up in my ribs and refused to leave. Beside me, Sarah's breathing was soft, steady, the kind of rhythm that used to lull me to sleep. But tonight, it grated, each exhale a reminder of the distance between us. When her hand grazed my arm, tentative and warm, I flinched. I turned away, curling toward the edge of the bed, the cold sheet a barrier between us. "James," she whispered, her voice fragile, like glass about to crack. "Why won't you look at me?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. The words were stuck somewhere deep, tangled in the mess of thoughts I'd been dodging for weeks. Her touch lingered on my skin, a ghost of the intimacy we used to share, but now it felt like an intrusion. I stared at the wall, tracing the faint outline of a crack in the plaster, wondering how long it had been there, unnoticed. It started small, the way betrayals often do. A glance at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. The way she'd tilt the screen just out of view, her fingers moving too quickly to be casual. I'd told myself it was nothing. Work stress, maybe, or a friend she didn't want to bother me with. Sarah was private like that, always had been. But then there were the late nights at the office, the vague excuses that didn't quite add up. "Client dinner," she'd say, her smile tight, her eyes anywhere but mine. I'd nod, swallow the unease, and change the subject. Because that's what you do when you love someone. You trust them, even when it stings. Tonight, though, something had shifted. Maybe it was the way she'd come home. Her perfume faintly different, sharper, like it wasn't hers alone. Or the way she'd avoided my gaze at dinner, stirring her soup with a kind of focus that felt like avoidance. I'd sat across from her, the kitchen clock ticking louder than it should, each second stretching the silence until it was unbearable. "James," she said again, her voice sharper now, pulling me back to the bed. "Talk to me, please." I turned my head just enough to see her silhouette, propped up on one elbow, her hair spilling over her shoulder like ink. The streetlight caught the edge of her face, and for a moment, she looked like the woman I'd married. Fierce, beautiful, mine. But the illusion shattered when I remembered the text I'd seen that morning. The one she hadn't deleted fast enough. "Meet me at 7. Don't tell him." For words that had burned into my skull, replaying every time I closed my eyes. "What do you want me to say, Sarah?" My voice was low, rough, like I'd swallowed gravel. "That everything's fine? That I don't notice you pulling away?" She froze, her breath catching. The air between us thickened, heavy with the weight of what wasn't said. "I'm not pulling away," she said, but the words were too quick, too practiced. "I've just been busy. You know how work's been." I sat up, the mattress creaking under me. The room felt smaller, the shadows sharper. "Busy," I repeated, the word bitter on my tongue. "Is that what you call it?" Sneaking texts, coming home late, smelling like someone else. Her eyes widened, just for a second, before she masked it with a frown. "What are you talking about? You're being paranoid." "Am I?" I turned to face her fully now, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. "Then show me your phone. Right now." The silence that followed was deafening. Her hand twitched toward the nightstand, where her phone sat like a loaded gun, but she didn't reach for it. Instead, she looked at me, her eyes glistening with something I couldn't read. Guilt, maybe, or fear. "You don't trust me," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Should I?" I shot back. The words felt like a betrayal of their own, cutting through the vows we'd made 5 years ago under a summer sky. I wanted her to laugh, to call me ridiculous, to prove me wrong. But she didn't. She just stared, her lips parting as if she might speak, then closing again. The first crack in my heart appeared then, small but deep, like a fracture in ice. I'd loved her fiercely, blindly, the kind of love that makes you stupid. I'd ignored the late-night calls she'd step out to take. The way her laughter had grown quieter, less hers. I told myself it was just a phase, that marriage was work, that we'd find our way back. But now, sitting in the dark, I saw it. The truth I'd been running from. She wasn't just drifting. She was gone. James, she said finally, her voice trembling. I didn't mean for this to happen. The words hit like a punch, stealing my breath. What didn't you mean? I asked, though I already knew. I needed to hear it. To let her say it, to make it real. She looked down, her fingers twisting the edge of the blanket. It was just a moment. A mistake. I didn't think. Ooh. I cut her off, my voice louder than I meant it to be. The question hung between us, sharp and jagged. Who is he, Sarah? Her silence was answer enough. I stood, needing to move, to escape the suffocating weight of her confession. The floor was cold under my feet, the room spinning as I paced to the window. Outside, the street was empty, the world asleep, oblivious to the way mine was unraveling. Say it, I demanded, turning back to her. Say his name. She looked up, tears streaking her face, and when she spoke, her voice was barely audible. It's Mark. From work. Mark. The name was a blade, slicing through the last threads of denial. I saw him in my mind, her co-worker, the one with the easy smile, the one she'd mentioned too casually too often. I'd met him once, at a company party, his handshake too firm, his eyes lingering on her a second too long. I'd brushed it off. I'd trusted her. Why? The question slipped out, raw and broken. Why him? Why not me? She flinched as if I'd struck her. It wasn't about you, she said, her voice cracking. I was lonely, James. You were always working, always gone. I needed someone. I laughed, a harsh, hollow sound. So it's my fault? I worked to build a life for us, Sarah. For you. I know, she sobbed, burying her face in her hands. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to hurt you. But she had. She'd shattered me. And the pieces were too sharp to pick up. I wanted to scream. To break something. To make her feel the pain clawing at my chest. But all I could do was stand there, staring at the woman I'd loved, the stranger in my bed. Then she looked up, her eyes desperate, and asked the question that stopped my heart. Can you ever forgive me? The room spun again, the shadows closing in. I wanted to say yes, to cling to the love we'd had, to believe we could rebuild. But the truth was colder, harder. I didn't know if I could. I didn't know if I wanted to. I don't know, I said, my voice a whisper now, barely holding together. I don't know if I can ever look at you the same. And with that, I walked out of the room, leaving her alone in the dark, the weight of her betrayal heavier than the silence I left behind. Thank you, my amazing YouTube family, for diving into this emotional roller coaster with me. Hit that like button if this story hit you in the feels, and let me know in the comments, could you forgive Sarah? Stay tuned for more stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Love you all.